me, intersectionality is about the overlap of like different social identifications that contribute to your identity, and oftentimes like those social identifications can contribute to feelings of discrimination. So in the AAPI community, we're seen as a minority, and I feel like minorities have to succumb to this dominant culture because we are a minority and we want to feel like we belong. Like, we never want to feel like we're invisible or we're less than. We struggle to kind of like balance all these different parts of our identity and don't speak up about things that are unhealthy for us because we want to be the best versions of ourselves. So when it comes to intersectionality, we're balancing things like our race, socioeconomic class, we're talking about our gender and our age, and all those different parts of us contribute to our identity. I'm a male Asian, so males and females, they experience different like environments due to their gender. But as an Asian male, I experience it different than like a white male might, because Asians are more invisible, they're less than, they're less competent in certain areas of work, and so that layer of my intersectionality makes me feel like I don't have a right to speak up about a mental health issue that I might have. And like, for instance, someone else who might belong to the LGBTQ community, they might feel like they're already feeling oppressed because of who they want to be, and no one should feel that way because they feel like they're already down about that part of themselves. In addition to that, if they're experiencing mental health issues, they won't feel comfortable to speak up about that as well. And so our society is strangely built on that idea that because you don't belong, you shouldn't be supported in speaking up about who you are. As an organization, we try our best to basically create this environment where everyone feels safe, everyone feels comfortable to be yourselves, and surrounded by other people who are unique as well. And yeah, we have similar stories, but we also are our own identities, and intersectionality is all about celebrating that and kind of making sure that everyone should feel like who they are.
Asian Americans are less likely to seek help because they don't realize the importance of help. Like, they feel like they don't need it in a sense. Mental health illnesses and getting help is kind of put into like a negative spotlight. So for me personally, my parents were kind of afraid of telling me about a relative who gets help because he has a mental health illness, and they didn't tell me about it until recently, and they didn't really like talking about it because they were afraid of the negative opinions that people surrounding them have towards it. So I think they're kind of afraid. People are just afraid of reaching out because they're afraid of other people's opinions, and as well as they don't feel the need for it.
I think the biggest one that makes me upset is that it's not like a real issue and that it's all in their heads. Like, a lot of people will say, like, if you see something on someone that like obviously shows they have an illness, then like you can say like, okay, yeah, they have an illness. But if it's in their head, a lot of people won't say like, oh, there's nothing to like show that they have an illness, so they won't take it as seriously and think it's like a real issue.
I think that it's really situational, but most of it is environmental. For me personally, it would be like stress for success, because I think that a lot of pressure from society and from your parents want you to be like the best. They want you to succeed in life, and that can be kind of stressful because you don't know how to meet those expectations that everyone puts on you to like be an A student, to do a bunch of extracurriculars. So I think that leads to like a lot of stress and anxiety in a lot of students, college students in particular, because we're like going into our careers and we're like afraid to talk about our stress and anxiety because we don't want to be seen as imperfect or like unsuccessful. And I think that's a big issue because, you know, our diagnosis of mental health is like the first step, and if we're too afraid to like come out and say that we have these issues, then we can't ever get to that second step of recovery.
I would say yes, because coming from a Chinese family, we believe a lot in Eastern medicine, and a lot of Eastern medicine focuses more on like foods you eat, nothing really like heavy on medicine. And so my parents don't really believe on medicine. When the problem of mental health comes up, like anxiety or depression, they don't believe in taking medicine. So they believe a little bit in when something happens, like if I get a panic attack or like I just get really depressed certain days, they'll just kind of like leave me alone. But if we talk about taking medicine or anything, they kind of ask you, do you really need that? Can you just not take it? Can you just be better? When I would have panic attacks, they would not be there. So when I go to them and be like, I think I need help, they kind of don't believe me. But the one time that they were there that it happened, they kind of just thought I was throwing a tantrum or something. So I would say that they don't really believe it until it gets bad enough that like no one can control it.
We did a social media campaign focused on the theme that silence is not golden. So we went around and asked a lot of Asian Americans on campus, and we asked them, what is an issue that you will not stay silent about? Because a huge, I guess, stereotype or stigma about the Asian American community is that we like to stay silent about a lot of things, but we wanted to break that stereotype and talk about issues that the Asian American community has on campus. And I know that a good chunk of the responses was that a lot of Asian Americans did not want to stay silent about mental health. Last semester we did an event, it was a study break before finals, and it was just a way for everyone to relax and de-stress before finals, because I know that like self-care and mental health are not really a big thing when it comes to school. I know everyone's just focused on getting the grades, but we really wanted to make sure that like we could get everyone together and just have one day where they didn't have to worry about finals, and have a community where it was not only supportive, but it was just a way for everyone to have fun and de-stress.
Mental health is one of those issues that are often invisible, and you can't see it like that someone is struggling with a mental health issue just if you look at them. A big problem with that is a lot of these people, myself included, like have to struggle alone or don't feel comfortable enough to speak up about it and have a conversation about it. On top of that, there is kind of a negative stigma about mental health, in that people in the AAPI community, it's that they have a lot of this model minority stereotype, in that they have to be perfect or they have to pretend that nothing's wrong, because in order to be just as good as another person, they have to be the best version of themselves. And so there's not this atmosphere where you can talk about it and you can address the issue and then work to fix it and help yourself or help other people. For our organization, I think one of our big goals and as part of our mission statement is to, create a community especially for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, for people to be able to talk about themselves and just be comfortable and feel accepted in whatever they say. And that's why it's so important for us to talk about it now and just share our own experiences with it, so that other people can also feel comfortable.